Hello everybody, this is Arushmita. Welcome to my channel. Hope you all are fine and staying safe. So as you know that our June term exams are coming near, and during the exams we do not find time to go through each and every lines of the chapter. So here in my channel I will be putting out the concepts of the chapter in a brief and pictorial format for you to have an overall understanding of the topics that has been discussed throughout. So today's lesson of ours is balance of payments. As you all know that what is balance of payments? It is an accounting record of transactions happening between residents of one country and the residents of another country. So let's be more specific, residents of one country and residents of the rest of the world. So there are different transactions that are happening in this balance of payments. That is, the transactions in which the domestic country purchase assets from the foreign country, that is, they reduce liabilities from the foreign countries and make payments for them. Similarly, when the domestic countries sell assets, they receive payments for it from the foreign countries and increase their liabilities. So these are the transactions that revolve around the concept of balance of payments. That is, the outflow of the funds and the inflows of the funds takes place. And that is how it resembles a company's sources and uses of funds statement. So moving on towards our next topic, that is the economic transactions that revolve around the balance of payments concept. As you can see, I have listed in here in this chapter the purchase or sale of goods and services against claim or monetary gold, barter exchange system, interchange of financial items against other financial items, provision or acquisition of goods and services, as well as provision or acquisition of financial items. So now, these transactions have common rules of credit and debit for recording of them. Credit entries are made for the provision of goods and services or financial items, whether they are sold, bartered or furnished, and debit entries are made for the acquisition of goods and services of financial items. For the first three types of transactions, the rules are that the debit should equal to the credit. For the remaining types, a credit entry for goods and services is matched by a debit entry for a requited transfer or vice versa. Somehow, this balance of payments concept revolved around this debit and credit concepts as well. Next, moving on to balance of payments is concerned with economic transactions between the residents of the reporting country and the residents of the rest of the world, as what we have learned earlier. Now, what is residents? Who are residents? If you can see my notes, then I have bifurcated the concept of residents into three parts. Residents are those who consume goods and services, who participates in productive process, and who carry out economic activity within the territory of the country. So these are called residents. Afterwards you can learn about who are citizens and who are residents and can distinguish between both of them. Now if we come to the balance of payments accounting, it is a double entry accounting record that you have already learned in your commerce and already learned in your accountancies. It is a double entry bookkeeping method. For every transaction there should be a debit as well as there should be a credit entry. Leaving aside errors and omissions, the totals of credits must exactly the total of debits. That is, the balance of payments must always balance. Simple accounting rules that are followed in BOP are: all transactions that leads to the payment from the rest of the world to our country are to be recorded as credit. All transactions that result in payments from our country to the rest of the world are called as debits. And the transactions which leads to the increase in demand for foreign exchange are debit entries, and the transactions which results in an increase in the supply of foreign exchange is a credit entry. What are the components of balance of payments? Balance of payments has been grouped into two accounts, that is the current account and the next is the capital account. Current account and then been subdivided into two parts. Current account transactions for imports and exports, current account transactions for unilateral transfers. There next is capital account. It records transactions of assets and liabilities. And apart from these two types, there is one such account that is called a reserve account. This is not different from something in capital account. It relates to financial assets and liabilities only. But what happens is like, this is the account where the reserve assets are included. These are the assets. Now what are reserve assets? These are the assets which the central bank of the country uses to settle the deficits and the surpluses that arises or causes in the current account as well as the capital account. So moving on to our next topic, that is the current account. The components of current account we have divided into three parts: the merchandise, the non-monetary gold movements, the invisibles. Merchandise has been further divided into private merchandise and the government merchandise. So if you see my notes, then you can see a table where I have put up the debit items and the credit items. Imports will be put in the debit side, and exports, the merchandise exports that is valued on FOB basis, are put in the credit side. If the imports are greater than the exports, then obviously there is a deficit. That is totally an expense to us, so it will be put in the credit debit side. And if the exports are more than the imports, so obviously there is a surplus, that is a profit, so it will be put in the credit side. Similarly, the loss will put in the debit side. Next, we move on to the non-monetary gold movements. As you know that gold is both a commodity and a financial asset as well. So it is treated as a financial asset when it is held by the monetary authority. And monetization and demonetization of gold takes place. When monetization happens, the monetary authority acquires gold from the residents and non-residents to add to reserve. The reserve account gets debited as well as the corresponding non-monetary gold account gets credited. Now, when the gold demonetization happens, reserve account shows a credit and the non-monetary gold movement account shows a debit. Third are the invisibles. The debit items are the freight charges to non-resident airlines, professional received, services received, revenue contributions by Government of India to internationals. See, these are all put in the debit side because these are all expenses to us. Similarly, the credit sides are the travel receipts, insurance premium received, profits from investment, funds received from governments, professional services rendered to foreign organizations, and cash maintenance. This is nothing more than a ledger account that is being followed while we prepare or while we record our expenses, while we record our receipts in accountancy. Next is the components of the capital account. Now, components of capital account has also been further subdivided into private, banking, and official. Private capital account consists of long-term and short-term capital transactions. Official are loans, amortizations, and miscellaneous. Now, what is the long-term and the short-term thing? Long-term and the short-term thing are the borrowings. The borrowings which are exceeds 1 year or more than 1 year are the long-term borrowings. Or the short-term borrowings are those which can be completed or which can be paid off within the tenure of 1 year. Similarly, in this capital account also, you can see that I have made a ledger table where I have put down the debit and the credit transactions, capital transactions. In the debit side, we have to investment by residents in shares, repayment of loan by residents of the country to the foreign country, repatriation of foreign investments. Similarly, on the credit side, what we have recorded is the term loans received by our residents, the residents of our country, of the domestic country from the international countries, investors by foreign countries, repayment by deposits. These are all debit and the credit transactions. So, capital account records the changes in the levels of international financial assets and liabilities, as we have studied earlier. And banking, third is the banking, which deals with the increase in the assets corresponding to the decrease in liabilities, and decrease in the assets corresponding to the increase in liabilities. Increase in the assets means debit. As you know that asset is a debit item, so anything added to that asset or anything increase in the asset will lead to a debit transaction. Correspondingly, there will be a decrease in the liabilities. Liabilities is a credit item, so to decrease the liabilities we have to debit it. Next is the decrease in asset. Asset is a debit item, to decrease it we need to credit that item. Liabilities is a credit item, to increase it we need to credit that item. Got it? Now, we will study about what are the assets and the liabilities in terms of the capital account. Assets are the balances held by banks within foreign branches abroad. Rupee assets representing loans granted by Indian banks to foreign banks. That is, these are assets of domestic country to the foreign country. Liability, what are the liabilities? The Indian banks debit balances in foreign banks. Credit balances held by non-residents in India. We have read about the current account, capital account, and now what are the other accounts? Other accounts are the IMF, International Monetary Fund, SDR, special drawing rights, and the reserves and the monetary gold. Apart from this current and capital account, these other accounts are required to settle the international payments between and to settle the deficits and the surplus. Till now we have studied how the deficit and surplus comes. That is, how the exports and the imports leads to a deficit and surplus in BOP. Now we will study what are the two types of transactions that come in balance of payments. Two are autonomous transactions and accommodating or financing transactions. When exports are more than the imports, there is trade surplus. When imports are more than the exports, there is trade deficit. Now, this balance of payments consists of balances which have been further subdivided into trade balance, balance on goods and services, current account balance, and balance on current account and long-term capital. The autonomous transactions which are there does not depend on the balance of payments. But the accommodating transactions depends on the balance of payments. That is, autonomous transactions can take place on their own. The accommodating transactions needs to depend on the balance of payments. Now, what happens if there is a disequilibrium in the balance of payments? Suppose if the debits is not equal to the credits, then what happens? We have short-term and long-term borrowings that we have read earlier. What are the factors that affect the balance of payments? In the current account, we have inflation, national income, government restrictions, exchange rate. As the inflation increases, the imports also increases, the exports decreases. This is how the balance of payments becomes adverse. That is, the imports increases, the country's inflation rate increases relative to the country's higher prices at home leave the consumers and corporations to purchase more goods overseas, leading to rising imports, while the country's exports are declining. Next is the national income that increases as soon as the current account also increases. When there is next is the government restriction. If the government restrictions are tax on imported goods are increased, then the foreign goods price also increases. So less imports, the current account balance improves. Third is the exchange rates. If the exchange rate are flexible, that is, if the dollar and the rupee in terms of dollar increases from one point to another point, suppose it increases from rupees 40 to rupees 50. So you can see in my notes I have written that when there is a India who are paying rupees $20 to buy goods from the US. If this $20 increases to $25 in terms of rupees, then India has to pay less rupees, 800 in terms of the US dollar. This is called the depreciation of rupees and dollars that you will study in the next chapters. Moving on to our next is capital account, which depends on tax, interest rates and the reduction in domestic rates as well. When there is a disequilibrium in the country, we have studied how we can put an equilibrium, how we can bring that deficit to an equilibrium point. Now, what are the methods to which we can correct this disequilibrium? There are 4 methods: using of the past reserves, borrowings from International Monetary Fund, monetary and fiscal policy measures, and the exchange rate adjustments. Borrowings from IMF, you can see that there are countries with disequilibrium in BOP can make use of IMF facilities. These are standby loans, extended fund facilities, structure adjustment facilities, enlarged structural adjustment facilities, compensatory and contingency financing facilities, systematic transformation facilities, STF. This is how we come to the end of the chapter. Thanks for watching, guys. For more videos, please subscribe to my channel and also like the video and let me know in the comment section about the feedback. Thank you.